On this episode of What's Going On with Shipping, they're back. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to this episode. It has been so nice. We have not had attacks on commercial ships sailing through the Red Sea since the end of last year. It has been great. Now, the United States and Israel have launched coordinated attacks against the Houthi in southern Yemen. You may remember that following the attack out of Gaza by Hamas against Israel back on October 7th of 2023, and then subsequently the Israeli attack into Gaza afterwards, the Houthi joined in. Initially, we had a series of missile attacks up against Israel, but then the Houthi expanded their attacks. They staged a dramatic attack on board the car carrier Galaxy Leader, abducted the ship and crew, held the crew for over a year hostage. They just recently released the crew, but then began a systematic attack against shipping in and around the area. Well, for the first time since December of 2024, we have an attack on a commercial ship, and we're going to break that down for you. But to better give you the idea of what's going on, let's go to my favorite Houthi spokesman, General Yahya Saree. I've missed Yahya so much.
بيان صادر عن القوات المسلحة اليمنية بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال تعالى يا.
Why is he always yelling? I mean, he has microphones. I have a microphone in front of me. I am not screaming and shouting into the microphone. I don't know why he does that, but every news conference, it seems to be him. All right, let's see what he's saying. So here is the statement of the Yemeni armed forces regarding the execution of a specialized military operation targeting the ship, the Magic Seas. I'm going to break down the ship in a minute. Affiliated with a company that violated the ban on entering the ports of occupied Palestine, hint that is Israel, in the Red Sea, using 2 unmanned boats, 5 ballistic and winged missiles, and 3 unmanned aircraft. Well, I got to say, for the Houthi, they came back big. I mean, that is a very large attack, to the point that they have actually abandoned the vessel, and we may see the 3rd ship sunk by the Houthis since the initiation of their combat. All right, let's go ahead and break this down. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. So this is the United Kingdom's Maritime Trade Operations Office. They initiated their number 26 alert, talking about specifically the attack. The UKMTO had received a report of an incident 51 nautical miles southwest of Al Houthi, Yemen. The vessel had been engaged by multiple small vessels who had opened fire with small arms and self-propelled grenades. The armed security team have returned fire, and the situation is ongoing. And then we have a series of 4 updates now. The report was dated back on 6 July at 11:25 UTC. So update at 14:01 UTC, the company's security officer has confirmed the vessel has been struck by unknown projectiles, resulting in a fire on board. At 15:03 UTC, the vessel is taking on water and the crew are preparing to abandon ship. 50 minutes later, 15:53, that all crew have now abandoned ship and are awaiting assistance. The current position of the vessel is 14:57 north, 41:39 east, and then at 1900 UTC, crew had been rescued by a passing merchant vessel. All crew are well and safe. Vessels in the area should exercise extreme caution while transiting the southern Red Sea, as vessel remains abandoned and unlit. Vessels are advised to transit with caution and report any suspicious activities to the UKMTO. This is the video put out by Marine Traffic. You can see the track here. There is Magic Seas. This is the vessel in question heading northwest in the Red Sea. She had just come through our favorite passage, the Bab el Mandeb. And you'll notice here that right around 1100 UTC time, we'll see the vessel begin to take some maneuvers here. The ship starts heading west and then begins to maneuver a little bit more, and then we'll see the vessel actually come to a stop. We actually do not have tracking on board the vessel right now. I'll show you the latest heading here of the vessel. You can see some vessels making close approaches toward the Magic Seas. Now we see her come to a dead stop. This is at 14:30 UTC time, and then the vessel comes off. Here is the data from Marine Traffic. She's a bulk carrier built back in 2016, sailing under the flag of Liberia. Cargo capacity is 63,000 tons on board. As we come down here, she is currently right now showing to have an armed guard on board. Her destination was listed as Suez. She was coming out of China, the port of Zhuhai. She is laden, and we'll talk about what is exactly on board the vessel here in a moment. In regards to ownership, beneficial owner is STEM Shipping out of Greece. You'll see that the registered owner is Optimal International Shipping through Liberia. Technical manager and ISM manager is STEM Shipping. The commercial manager and the operator is All Sea Marine out of Greece. The ship was built back in China at Dayang Shipbuilding. She is classified through Bureau Veritas out of France, and the P&I club for the vessel, the insurance, is out of the Swedish club. Over the last year, the ship has made numerous port calls here. You'll see the countries: Ireland 5 times, China 3, Egypt and Brazil 2, Turkey 1, Russia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Korea each 1. The allegation here is that the vessel had made a prior visit to Israel, and therefore the ship was targeted. This is the latest story from G-Captain. All crew rescued after major attack on the motor vessel Magic Seas in the Red Sea. This is Mike Schuller. Liberian-flagged bulk carrier came under attack from multiple small vessels. This is the first Houthi attack since December 2024. So the major thing I wanted to catch here was the statement from STEM Shipping. Michael Bordoglou, my Greek is going to be terrible, I apologize, described the attack to Reuters, and this is his quote. Quote, "It struck us like lightning. Carrying iron and fertilizers from China to Turkey when it was subjected to, quote, a raid lasting more than 4 hours involving gunfire and rocket-propelled grenades from skiffs as well as sea drones and missiles. The extensive damage caused fires on board and subsequent flooding, forcing the crew to abandon ship." About the fact that the crew was picked up by a passing merchant ship. This was coordinated by not just the UKMTO, but the EU's naval forces. Atlanta is the anti-piracy mission that takes place off the Horn of Africa. Fortunately, we had no injuries. Adding that the crew will be delivered to Djibouti. The fate of the vessel remains unclear, and it is in risk of sinking. Intercargo Chairman John Zilis strongly condemned the attack. Quote, "Seafarers are not targets. We are deeply shocked by the attack on the Magic Seas, and our thoughts are with the crew. These are innocent people simply doing their jobs, keeping global trade moving. No one at sea should ever face such violence." According to Bordoglou, the Magic Sea had made a port call to Israel in the past, but the latest transit appeared low risk, quote, "as it had nothing to do with Israel." Again, the Houthi have made attachments to vessels because of past visits or visits that the ship's company vessels may be making. We've seen the Houthi make these connections where vessels will either have made a visit in the past or maybe vessels of the company have made visits. It's always very tenuous, some of the connections that the Houthi make to vessels to claim that they are Israeli or Israeli connected. Again, if you look at the history of the 130 ships that have been attacked, a very small percentage of them are connected to Israel or have any Israeli connections at all. This goes to just the nature of global shipping. This chart, posted by the Washington Institute, tracks the transits through our favorite strait of all times, the Bab el Mandeb, and the confirmed Houthi attacks on commercial ships. This runs from November of 2023 to November of 2024. Remember, the last attack we had was in December of 2024, but it gives you the 5 phases as identified. This is obviously the beginning of a new phase if we're seeing renewed attacks coming by the Houthi against shipping. Now, this comes concurrently with a whole series of other events that we're seeing happen in regards to shipping. Early in 2025, we had the strikes by Israel against the Houthi. We had the Americans initiate Operation Rough Rider. This is the strikes from the Truman Battle Group along with shore-based assets striking at the Houthi. Well, we have this story just the other day on July 6th. Israel had attacked these targets, the ports of Haditha, Ras Isa, and Salif ports, and the Ras Qantib power plant were due to repeated Houthi attacks on Israel. Israel also attacked the Galaxy Leader in Ras Isa port, which Israeli military said the Houthi terrorist regime's forces installed a radar system on the ship and are using it to track vessels in international maritime space in order to promote the Houthi terrorist regime's activities. This assault came hours after the Magic Seas was attacked off the Red Sea port city of Haditha. The Israelis had moved naval forces into the region. Matter of fact, they had struck at the Houthi just prior to the Americans launching their B-2 strike against Iranian nuclear facilities. Now, we have other issues all going on here at the same time. There was a belief that we're going to see a kind of a return back to shipping in the area. Lloyd's ran this story not too long ago in early July. MSC, Mediterranean Shipping Company, shipped sails through the Bab el Mandeb for the first time since the Red Sea exodus. The 4,700 TEU MSC Antonia transited the strait last month, now bound for China. The vessel had previously run aground near Elza Shoals, west of Jeddah, back in May. The Bab el Mandeb box ship passing on the rise, but dominated by feeders serving the local trade. Ultra-large tonnage continues to avoid the region. Now, we had seen some large vessels go through. Don't forget, CMA CGM, the French National Line, has the protection of the Marine Nationale and the European Union's Operation S-Speed, so they have run a service through the Red Sea, about one large ship a month, but MSC is the first non-company besides CMA CGM to run a ship through, but we're still seeing the large box ships avoid the region. They're still heading around Africa, and that is putting some issues into play here. We're seeing more tonnage at play. This is increasing rates. It has a whole kind of knockdown effect on global shipping. So I am going to assume that we're going to see probably less ships heading through the region now. Add to it, we had another story that happened in the backdrop of this that raises another issue regarding ship safety. This is a story by G Captain. This is a Reuters story. Explosive device likely damaged Greek tanker off Libya last week. An external explosive device most likely caused the blast that damaged the Greek oil tanker Villa Marmora as it sailed off the Libyan coast last week. The vessel's Greek-based operator TMS Tankers said on Sunday, citing an initial investigation. Marshall Island flag. The ship had left the Libyan port of Zutina on June 27 to head to Gibraltar with some 1 million barrels of oil when there was an explosion in the engine room. According to TMS, the preliminary investigation findings clearly indicated that the explosion, the resulting fracture of the side shell plating, and the flooding of the engine room was caused by an external source, an unidentified explosive device. Now, I will say I've seen photos of the explosion on board this tanker. This is a Richard Mead Lloyd's List story back in 30 June. And you look at some of the photos, some of the blast damage appears that it's emanating from within inside the ship. But again, TMS is saying that this was an external explosion. Interesting to note that Lloyd's has a list of ships that have suffered an explosion. Look at this list right here, and what you see is a variety of ships. Back, obviously, on January 17th of 2025, a ship, the Sea Charm, was damaged with a suspected limpet mine off the coast of Turkey. Early February, the Grace Ferrum, explosion off the Libyan coast. February 9th, the Koala. This was at Ust-Luga. Multiple explosions reported as internal blasts back in February. The Sea Jewel, this is off the coast of Italy, blast while anchored. And now the Villa Mora off the coast of Libya. And as if that's not enough, we have this story over a trade wind. StealthGas ship hit in Russia by mystery blast. This is another vessel that has suffered. At this time, the Eco Wizard up in the port of Ust-Luga reported an explosion on board and flooding. She is an LPG, liquefied petroleum gas carrier, that was loading cargo, and the ship was evacuated over the weekend in the Baltic. So we have a mess of stuff happening. We've got attacks by the Houthi now back in the Red Sea. We've got minings up in the Mediterranean. We've got explosions on vessels up in the Baltic. Holy crap. I mean, it's a lot of ship happening regarding these attacks. And the question is, who's perpetrating them? Well, we know the Houthi are doing the Red Sea. We don't know who's doing these mine attacks in the Mediterranean and the Baltic. Obviously, Ukraine has got to be in the mix here somewhere with everything that's happening between Ukraine and Russia. So are we seeing this? This goes back to all these gray zone operations that we see happening towards shipping. Obviously, these level of attacks are going to cause escalation in potentially war risk insurance. Creating risk means higher cost to transport goods. It means diversions. It means just you as the consumer are going to be paying more. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. Leave a comment, share it across social media, and if you can, support the page. How do you do that? You hit that super thanks button down below, give it a big thumbs up, or head on over to Patreon and become a monthly, yearly subscriber. Until our next episode, Sal, signing off.